Hey everyone, welcome to the Industry Show. I'm your host Nitin Bajaj, and joining me today is Vivek Wadhwa. Vivek, welcome on the show.
Well, it's good to be on with you.
Thanks for having us here. It's
Absolutely.
great to be doing this in person. I've been following your work for many years. I've cited you in pretty much all of my research. Thank you.
Absolutely.
So let's start with who is Vivek?
I don't know what I am anymore because I've done so many things. I founded companies, I've taught in academia, many different universities, um, mentoring entrepreneurs. God knows what I'm doing. I mean,
Well, you're making a huge impact, and that's for sure.
thanks.
Before we get deeper into the work you have done and you continue to do, let's play a small game. We call it the underrated, overrated. These many different themes that impact us as a community, your one word take on those. And let's start with crypto.
Crypto, I mean, this is something that my son and I strongly disagree with him, and he teaches with me. He's really into it. He thinks that when the dust settles, there will be a lot there. Even NFTs have a future. And I look at it and I call it Beanie Babies. I remember when Beanie Babies were a big thing, and everyone was excited about them. They would gain, thousands of dollars of values for $5 little bunny. Well, Beanie Babies crashed. Well, what Tarun says to me is that, well, the same thing happened with in the dot-com boom, that Amazon crashed. A lot of these tech companies, Google crashed. At the end of it, you have trillion-dollar values that have been built.
Yes.
So I suspect that there's going to be something that emerges from it. I think Bitcoin is a scam, without doubt. And 90% of the, 99% of these cryptocurrencies are a scam. But there may be some good ones that come out of it, and there's some long-term value created.
Okay.
Let's watch and see.
All right, so underrated for now. All right, what
No,
about
it's overrated for now.
overrated for now?
And
Okay.
what happens remains to be seen.
Okay. What about real estate?
Real estate it has long-term value because it's a tangible thing.
Right.
And it depends on which part of the world you live in. Here in Silicon Valley, people want to come here from all over the world,
Right.
and they do come here. There's competition. So, right now we may be going through a stagnation period. Prices may drop 5 or 10%, but at the end of the day, there's real value here.
True.
Because like we are right now, on top of the world and top of Silicon
Yes.
Valley, this has real value.
True. Well, by the way, yes, the view is amazing. I'm having a hard time focusing on the camera because I really want to look back there.
Right.
So, okay, I agree with you on the real estate. What about stakeholder capitalism?
The Republicans are now calling it woke capitalism.
Yes.
The Democrats are calling it, responsibility. It's in between. I mean, companies, the alternative is the evil that the tech industry is doing. I mean, Facebook, they monetized social media to the point that they're alienating societies. So, if Facebook acted responsibly, it would be a wonderful thing for the world. That doesn't mean that they should be championing political causes, but they should at least take responsibility.
Right.
So I call it, ethics and values and morals and putting the interest of humanity ahead of money. So whatever you label it, whether it's woke or whether it's not woke, it doesn't matter. I mean, the fact is that all of us have a responsibility to uplift society and not to do evil.
True.
And many companies don't understand that. I mean, you've got the Philip Morrises, of course, who've been the villains, rightfully so. But now the tech industry has also become a villain.
True.
Right.
With power comes responsibility, and if you don't use it right way,
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah.
On that note, what about metaverse?
Metaverse, Facebook, Zuckerberg tried to hijack it. Virtual reality is going to become, a way we communicate with each other within 5 or 10 years, or maybe even be sooner than that. So this virtual reality is coming. Metaverse is a lot of hype and Facebook nonsense. They were exaggerating what it is and trying to stake a claim to real estate and so on. So leave all the hype aside. Virtual reality is going to be the next way we communicate, because we could just as well, instead of being up here, we could just as well do this on Mars or in Tahiti or somewhere else.
So true.
So those virtual worlds are coming.
What about stock market valuations?
Steady, slow and steady. You have bubbles that pop, but you're building real value there.
Right.
So I think there is something real to stock markets because it's based on something tangible. It's not like crypto, where Bitcoin it's being manufactured out of nothing at all. It's based on real value being created.
True.
Right.
Well, thanks for playing along. Let's talk about something that's closer and more personal to you. You touched upon you're doing many different things. If I were to ask the question, what do you do for a living? What would that be?
I retired from teaching a few months ago because I got tired of this virtual, nonsense. Because the virtual reality isn't to the point that you can, teach innovation on it.
True.
So now I'm focused on a bunch of projects. I lost my dear wife to cancer, and this is 3 years ago, and it was devastating for me. So much so that the only thing that kept me going was her wish that I prevent other people from suffering the way she did. So I put together a grand plan to cure cancer, and I was able to hook up with some amazing scientists and entrepreneurs in India who had a mission to transform India's cancer care system. That's being implemented. So a lot of my energy for a couple of years was spent on focusing on curing cancer. Now the project called Carkinos Healthcare is in autopilot, and with an incredible team, they're doing all the things they need, so they don't need me. Along came another technology I've been involved with for a decade, which is to provide 100% clean water. A company in Chile run by a scientist, Alfredo Zalezzi, had made a breakthrough in being able to convert water into plasma, the fourth state of matter, back into water, thereby getting the cleanest water on the planet in terms of living organisms in it. So for many years I supported and invested in it. Then I checked out of it, and then I re-engaged, helped the company get it back on its feet, and now it's hired A+ management team. It's got lots of funding, and it's now going to provide clean water to all of Latin America. But they also made an amazing discovery during the pandemic when everything was in slow mode. That they realized that they could generate what's called plasma-activated water from the same technology. What's plasma-activated water? If you look at the places which have the most lightning, you'll notice that the vegetation is the most fertile over there.
True.
Because what Mother Nature does is, this is where the Mother Nature protects the planet. Lightning is the fourth state of matter, massive amounts of energy to create lightning. And then when it goes through the air, which is 78% oxygen and 78% nitrogen, 18% oxygen, the students can correct me on that. I'm close.
Sure.
I'm within 1 or 2% of the right numbers over there. Essentially what happens is that the water in the rain adds nitrates to it, and it adds a molecule which turns H2O into H2O2, which is hydrogen peroxide.
Right.
And then you have all these the species that are in the water. What they do is that they teach the flora to defend themselves. It's like a vaccine for humans, and it adds fertilizer to the ground. Well, the devices that Alfredo built can do the same thing. That inexpensively, and I'm talking about 1,000 watts of energy, large volumes. I mean, gallons, per minute. You can now generate plasma-activated water. So I basically persuaded the 2 largest farms in Florida to pilot the technology, and a couple of universities are testing it as well. And so far the results are astonishing. I mean, we're talking about launching the real. Now my ambition is to help this company, help its executives launch the next green revolution. You know what Sri Lanka tried doing with their stupid, organic thing? They weren't ready for this. If they had technology such as this, they could have achieved that. Because you would simply now start putting plasma-activated water on the plants, and it's 100% organic. And you wouldn't need pesticides also. So already I've now connected with Anand Mahindra about it in India, and Mukesh Ambani. They had their teams looking at it. So as soon as we get this technology working in Florida, we're going to take it to India, and with a bit of luck, launch the next green revolution, which is eliminates the need for pesticides, or reduces the need for pesticides and chemical fertilizers. So that's another project I'm working on. And then another set of technologies which I'm now looking to take to India and the developing world is to remediate the sewage, to essentially make the sewage inert, so that, I mean, our holy river, the Ganga, it's really become, it's shocking to me that, even though the Ganga is revered, they dump pollution into it, they dump sewage into it. What is wrong with us? Well, the problem is that they have no other choice. So that they pretend to pray and they pretend to do it, but then
Ask
say,
for
okay,
forgiveness.
we have to, yeah, we have to do what we have to do. Well, what if you could now make the sewage inert, so it doesn't pollute, it doesn't make people sick? This is a project which I'm going to be starting on over the next few months. I'm already speaking to a who's who of Silicon Valley about supporting me in it. We may be able to produce inexpensive units, a few $1,000 units, powered by a couple of solar panels that provide the ability for entire villages to have 100% clean water going into the rivers, and thereby reduce or eliminate the disease that's caused by it. So that's the next big project I'm going to be working on. It's all about now helping humanity and saving the planet. So that's what my mission right now is, to do all the good I can while I can still do good for the world.
I'm not surprised the amount of impact you create, because you've done this most of your life. That's
But
really
now,
amazing.
after losing my wife, my life's mission is to do what she said, to help others,
True.
to better humanity. Because she knew that without her, I would be completely devastated. I'd be lost. That's why her command to me was, spend your life helping others, doing good for the world. So that's my mission in life now. This is, frankly,
amazing.
this is why I stopped teaching, because teaching 40, 50 students, fine, you'll impact 40, 50 students. But what if you can impact 40, 50 million people?
True.
What if you can impact 1 billion people?
True.
With advancing technologies, which is what I teach, I know you can do it. So it's with the Cancer Project, what we're about to do is to give India a base to build a $100 billion medical industry. On the one hand, on the other hand, to now come up with all the data and biospecimens we need to cure cancer. India is about to leapfrog the world, leapfrog the West in cancer treatment. And so I'm not the only one saying that. The advisory board that I put together has the top scientists, the people who tried to help me save my wife Tavinder, they're helping me with this. They believe that India can now leapfrog the West, that this cancer moonshot that President Biden has done, it's going to be left in the dust with what we're doing in India. This is what the folks at Harvard and Mayo Clinic would say as well.
That's amazing.
So if India, so we can now cure cancer, we can now launch a green revolution, and now we can improve health. I think that's about as much as I can possibly achieve in the rest of my lifetime, and that's what I want to do.
Well, you've surprised yourself before, and I won't be surprised if you surprise yourself again.
Listen, I'm going to do it.
You will do it, and
I'm going to do it.
You mentioned with a little bit of luck. I don't think where you're involved, luck is needed.
No, I mean, it's always in God's hand. It's always luck. I mean, we can just do our best, and I'm doing my best at the end of the day.
You're too humble. So, tell me about, as you're going through this, these are huge problems, right? These are the size and scale. As you think about these, what's the one big challenge you face?
Right now, nothing is stopping me. All right, I don't have challenges. It's just a matter of putting pieces together and making these things happen. I mean, when it came to the Cancer Project, what has given me confidence is that I came to the Cancer Project after losing my wife. Why am I in this secluded place? Because I wanted to get away from the world. Right. And this is a beautiful setting, right, but I need to be away from, because for many months I couldn't do anything. I was literally, I cut off myself up from the rest of the world. And then I started focusing on putting together a grand plan to cure cancer. So the plan was to get to launch the largest clinical trial in world history, to get the data and biospecimens open source and make them available to researchers all the world, break the back of the corrupt medical institutions we have in America by doing what can't be done in America, is making all the data available to scientists all over the world to now cure cancer. That's what my goal was. I couldn't do it in America, because if I started doing this in America, the medical establishment would sue me.
True.
So the next thing was, where do I go? So I wanted to go to India, because India doesn't have an industry to protect. It's corrupt, but not in the medical industry, because it has no industry to protect. So I needed to go and see Narendra Modi, the Prime Minister of India. And also wanted to see the Dalai Lama, because I wanted to get the Dalai Lama's blessings for my wife, and also for one of my nephews who was suffering from cancer, brain cancer. He also passed away. I wanted to get the Dalai Lama's blessings for both of them. So how do you do that? Well, I was persistent. I mean, long story, but I was able to get a meeting with Prime Minister Modi. I spent half an hour with him, and also half an hour with the Dalai Lama. The Dalai Lama gave his blessings, and he also offered to host an academic conference of naturalist, scientists. And by the way, the Dalai Lama had cancer.
True.
He treated himself with a combination of Western and Eastern medicine. So he offered to help me with that when I'm ready. Prime Minister Modi, I was amazed how brilliant he was. He was able to, you know how fast I talk, and,
Yes.
and how,
Yeah.
he was able to keep up with me. And so he was speaking Hindi, but he understood everything I was saying in English. And I could understand his Hindi, but I couldn't speak very well in Hindi. He kept up with me, and then he told his principal scientific advisor, he said, "मेरे को 3 महीना में ये इसका Professor Wadhwa का program चाहिए." He basically commanded him to make it happen.
Wow.
Long story, but government didn't follow up, but they did connect me with all the right scientists who are making all this magic happen. So, you figure that if I can now go and meet the Prime Minister and the Dalai Lama and put something like that in place, what is the big deal in trying to get together a project to treat sewage and to get this device, which is designed by scientists in Chile who'd also designed the water technologies. So if I can do that, I can now make this happen. And I've already spoken to a couple of my friends over here. They said, "Vivek, if you're going to do it, we're going to support you." I only need $1 million for this. They said, let's win $100,000 each, and we'll make it happen. So I'm going to make that happen as well. The next 12 months or so, we're going to build the technology necessary to solve one of India's biggest problems.
This is super amazing.
But Nitin, the reason why I'm discussing this, this is the second time I'm publicly discussing this, is because if I can do it, I mean, I'm an old guy. I mean, completely broken. I mean, after the loss of my wife, I was completely devastated. Now I'm back to health because this is keeping me energized. But if this is what I can do, what about everyone else who's watching this, who's at the peak of their careers, who have access to the same technologies I do, and people, there are many, many, many people. The majority of people are smarter than I am. So if I can do it, why can't they do it?
True. And every person that puts an effort around this, it augments the other one, it magnifies, and these are big problems that we've been facing for a very long time, right?
Today, we can solve the grand challenges of humanity. I mean, for the people who listen to me for the first time, go to my website, wadhwa.com, and watch some of the videos there, watch some of the lectures there, read some of my articles. This is stuff I teach and I write about, I talk about all the time, about how advancing technologies, everything from artificial intelligence to computing, sensors, networks, digital medicine, quantum computing, all advancing exponentially and converging and making impossible things possible. We can now solve the problems of humanity. We just have to now figure out how to put the pieces together and get together with each other to make it happen.
Have the intention, have the focus.
Make it happen. We can all make it happen.
True. And again, thanks for taking the lead.
Absolutely.
Thanks for showing us the path.
I've got nothing better to do, so I might as well save the world. I'm not teaching anymore, so why stop teaching? So I can focus on bigger projects.
True.
Right.
I would have asked you, what's the one big exciting opportunity, but you've already answered that. There are 3 of them. And
and a couple more after that, which I'm thinking about also.
And I'm sure you'll knock these out in the next few months, and you'll be looking at the next 2.
Fingers crossed. Let's because the cancer project, I feel very confident about it. I mean, Venkat Ramachandran, Moni Kurakos, and Binay Panda. There are a bunch of amazing Indian philanthropists and scientists working on it. They have their heart in the right place, highest ethical, moral values. So I'm very happy with the way it's going. The water technologies, with a former CEO of Siemens Canada, Robert Hart, heading it, and now the team that he's brought in, all these senior Siemens executives, he's got it in great shape. It's going to happen. So now I'm focused on the next set of challenges.
The sewer treatment and...
Yeah, absolutely. And
I'm super excited. I mean, the solution seems amazing.
I'm 70% confident that we can make it happen. So let's see what happens.
Well, good luck on that. Now, as we look forward, let's look back and talk about 2 experiences. One that blew your mind and you hit the ball out of the park and you surprise yourself. And the other one where things didn't work out as you had expected and it became a lesson.
Well, I'll go back to the 2 projects, this Carnegie thing, okay? The fact, you see, I'm not a medical researcher.
Right.
I learned everything about cancer and trying to save my wife. Okay, so because I'm going to stay positive here. It was devastating for me, Then I said, okay, I'm going to put together all the pieces so that we can cure cancer, that the other people don't have to suffer the way she did. Because, so I had 3 labs ready to create personalized vaccines for her, except they didn't know what to target, what antigens to target, and so on. The data wasn't there. So I said, I'm going to get the data together for other cancers. And I put together this grand plan. I asked these scientists I was working with to help me. And, they spent a lot of time, and I was amazed. Like Keith Flaherty from Harvard Medical, the director of clinical research over there, he spent many hours with me, coaching me through it and helping me put together this plan. So there were a bunch of scientists like that who put all the effort into it. So the fact that I could do something like this and put together a grand plan, and then get people helping me, and then connect with the right people, so that showed me I can do whatever I need to do. And then you talk about failures. This technology I was talking about from Chile, the Alfredo Zolezis thing, it failed 3 times. Alfredo was almost in bankruptcy 3 times. He kept, running. People would take advantage of him. I mean, very, decent human being. People would keep taking advantage of him. Deals would fall through. So, basically it was a matter of being persistent and pursuing your dreams. That's what Alfredo did. And now, like I said, I'm talking about not only bringing clean water to billions of people, but launching the next green revolution. I'm, 80-90% certain that we can now launch the next green revolution. Not 100% yet, but 80-90% certain. So that's going to happen. So it's a matter of having the confidence, coming together with the right people, and just being persistent. At the end, when I did all of these projects, at the end of the day, what occurred to me was that I have to try.
True.
This is what the Gita teaches us.
Yes.
It's all about
effort.
Effort.
Yes.
Right. Even if you fail, you made the effort.
True.
So when I do these things now, it's all about putting the effort in, and whether it succeeds or fails, I have no control over it.
True.
This is what I'm saying. It's luck. It's really more than luck. It's really God has a role in this.
True.
So my attitude is I'll do whatever I can, and the rest is up to God and luck to make things happen. That's the best I can do.
True.
Yeah.
Now, let's come to my favorite part of the show. We call this the one-line life lessons. We would love to hear some of your one-line life lessons. You sprinkled some of them.
The life lesson is that make the most of what you have. I mean, we with my wife, I mean, I think over and over again, what could I have done more for her? How could I have been a better husband, and so on and so on. So you just have to realize that life is very short, and you have to make the most of every moment.
True.
Cherish, cherish your partners, cherish your children, cherish your friends. Make the most of every moment, because the only regrets you'll have are, why didn't I do more? Why wasn't I a better human being?
True.
Right.
Well, Vivek, thank you so much for making the time to be with us, to share your journey, your story, and most importantly, for doing what you do and for saving humanity.
I'm going to put the effort in, and whether I succeed or not is not in my hands.
You're already succeeding. You're leading us. You're helping show the path, and I think that in itself is a huge success. But the progress you've made with the team you've put together is really, really amazing. So thank you.
Best wishes to everyone.
Thank you so much.
All right, my friend.